welcome to the Red Half of Sheffield Meets, part 17 or 18 or 20, or I don't know how many of these damn things I've done. Today I have the pleasure of interviewing one of, I don't know if I say, I've listened to him for so many years, and I've had the pleasure of meeting this individual in person, and he's a awesome dude to pick his brain and talk footy with. So I guess a guy I'm very envious of. If you guys are watching and you're not listening, you'll know who it is by now. It's Andrew Roy Panchero, whatever you want to call him, from Blades Pod / Roy's View / Living with Maidley, living with Maidley.
Love
Yeah,
it.
Andrew, how are you?
I'm fantastic, mate. Thanks for having me on. I listen every week anyway, so great. When you ask me to come on, I'm like, yeah, I want to go on that. So
Yeah, it's fun. Well, I guess we'll get right into it. My first question: you become popular from your views from Roy's views from.
mm.
Where did that come from? When did it start? How did you become interested in doing that?
I used to read the Sunday papers after every game that Sheffield United won. I used to buy about 5 of them and like just read all match reports. But because obviously we're in Championship, they were about that big, and they were like small little Sheffield United won today to go top 2-1, rubbish. And then obviously they started going on to when the internet sort of got bigger and bigger in their online forums. And that sort of replaced me buying newspapers and stuff like that. So I used to go on forums to see, because I always think it's good to, because you're all wrapped up as football fans. I've just been watching England, obviously, all tournament, and all the talk is, what's happening with England? What's happening with England? No one cares, what's happened with Spain from our point of view. But I do think you get a better overall view of a game if you listen to another set of fans who are just as biased as you. You can sort of come to the middle to sort of decide like what it was actually like. So I used to go on other people's forums, just to, especially on away games, which I'd not seen, it would be pre-streaming and all that. So I used to go on forums just to see how we played according to their fans, because it's all right getting your own views. And then when we got relegated to League One under Danny Wilson, I put some quotes on to Blades Mad, now defunct Blades Mad, of, well, this is what the Oldham fans thought of the game. And people really liked it, so I carried it on. Then people on Twitter started sharing it from Blades Mad and stuff. So I thought I'll start a website up about it. And then that's basically it. It just grew from there. And yeah, even last season, a lot of people for some reason were still reading it. So I really am appreciative that people are still interested in in the quotes that I get.
Yeah, considering as bad as we were,
Yeah.
you would think that our numbers or your numbers would take a hit, but
Oh, they weren't
clearly,
as good. Don't get me wrong. I got loads of comments of people saying, "Sorry, mate, not reading these, not read them all season." It's like, yeah, totally understand that. I don't want to do them, so
yeah, yeah. I know. I mean, I found it hard doing our podcast. They're probably the back half of Christmas last year. It's like, what the hell are we going to talk to? We're shit. Just insert the different team name and then just roll on with it.
Yeah, you could just honestly just buy overdub like it was. And this week they lost to Newcastle, and that's it. And then just put the pod out the same one as last week. We got hammered again.
Exactly. So I guess I'll pick your brain on this. What is? Tell me, you've been a lifelong United supporter, Blade supporter. I know it's hard to encapsulate it or pare it down. Your all time favorite Blades moment.
Oh, that is so. Do you know what I'd always go to? And it's a game that I wasn't at. The game that I was at were probably the Nottingham Forest game 4-3 when Pesky Salido scored to get to this. And every Blades fan watching this will know what I'm talking about, so I'm not going about it. One of my favourite moments was actually beating Wednesday 4-2. I wasn't there. I watched it with my dad, just me and my dad watching it, because I thought we were going to get hammered, so I didn't want to go out, because obviously we had loads of injuries. They, at that point, were one of the favourites to go up, and I thought this could be a disaster. So I just watched it with my dad. And I think it's bizarre with football, and you get it, like I say, just being the World Cup, and you get it with that. You get those moments that you know that in 10, 15 years' time, when you're thinking about a particular person, in this instance, my dad, I'll be thinking, I watched that with my dad, and that were in a really, really good moment, like a family moment without getting too deep about it. And I think that's what's amazing with football. I went to the pub to watch the England Netherlands game, we scored the last minute, and all those people were there. You share a moment, and it becomes something that's really becomes a massive part of your memories of those people that you were with. And that's a big one for me with my dad, because I thought we were going to get hammered, and I would have normally gone to a pub to watch that, but I thought I don't want to be around people, so it just sort of happened that with me and my dad watching it, and it was just absolutely phenomenal, that game. And I know Wednesday fans will say, and I get it, you never even went up, it didn't mean anything, but it did. It was the changing of the guards, it was the changing of like the dominance in the city, and I still think that win propelled us to promotion the next season, because I think the confidence we got from it, we were like, we've arrived. If we can go to Hillsborough and bang 4 goals against our main rivals, we can do anything. And I think a couple of weeks after that, we beat Leeds away. And it tailed off because we didn't have the squad. But I think that were all, all momentum for the season after.
Yeah. No, a lot of the people that I've interviewed that are Blades fans, they do touch on the Nottingham Forest 4-3 game. They all call back to that. But I like yours. The 4-2 win at Hillsborough against Wednesday. God, I just hope we don't. I hope we don't go to Hillsborough.
I don't want to think about that. That's, by the way, I'm definitely not doing a view from it to beat us. So.
Oh no way!
Put myself through that.
Yeah. So on the contrary, let's do a 180. What's your worst moment as a Blade supporter?
It has to be getting relegated against Wigan for me. We had to lose at home to a team that I think had lost the last 9. We went on that much of a bad run. I think we'd won 3 out of our last 5. And we needed West Ham to drop points away at the champions, Manchester United. So you're going into this game, and I'm really negative. But even I'm going into this game thinking, we're going to be fine. These are shit. Man United are going to batter West Ham. We're absolutely fine. And then the realisation as the second half dragged on that we're going down. It never really entered my thoughts that we were going down until about the 70th minute. And I thought, Man United aren't going to score here. They missed the penalty as well, Man United. I had the earphones in, like the old school days where people got the earphones in, and I was listening to it on Radio 5. And that is the most depressed I've ever been at any football match ever, because I think they're the worst ones. Last season was awful week in, week out, but you sort of knew what you were going to get. You knew you were going to get hammered. We knew we were going down from pretty much the moment we went up. So it wasn't a shock. The worst ones are the shocks. And it's either that or the playoff finals. But that, for me, was the one, because so much had to happen for us to go down. And it did, in classic United style.
Yes. Yeah, true. That's very, very true. I guess since we let off with this pre-recording, we are as of recording, we are just off the back of the Euros, the European Championships. Sum up your thoughts of what in the hell. And as we are recording this morning, Gareth Southgate resigns from England. Yeah. Your thoughts on that?
The tournament, we were shocking all tournament. I think we played well for about an hour. But everything went our way. We scored a bicycle kick in the last minute against Slovakia. That doesn't happen. We scored a wonder goal with Saka in the quarterfinal to get back into it and won on penalties. We scored a wonder goal in the semi-final. We didn't have a shot against Spain until the moment Cole Palmer scored. Everything went in our favour. And I was gutted after. Purely, we didn't deserve to win it. It'd been a travesty if England had won that tournament. But when Cole Palmer scored, I thought, this is going to happen, because everything has gone our way. It were almost like it was so unusual for a Sheffield United England fan that everything's gone your way. And I thought, we're going to do it, because they'd missed loads of chances, Spain. They were far better than us. They deserved the win. But everything were going in our favour. And even when everything went in our favour, we still couldn't do it. And I was gutted after, because I thought, if you have that much go your way and you still can't win it, I don't know when you're going to win it. As for Southgate, I think it's the right time. I think the team's outgrown him for me a little bit. I think when he came in, he was the right man for the job. We were underdogs. We didn't have a great side. Got us to a semi, got everyone back into England. Before that, people hated England, the national, myself included. We're all in the pubs for this one. Everyone's like, beers in the air, as you've probably seen and stuff. In the tournaments before that, there were none of that. Everyone was just like, we're going to go out again here and blah, blah, blah. He brought everything back, to be fair, and he had his faults. And I do think it was time to move on, because I think I think the team that the players that have come out of the system since don't suit the way Southgate plays. But fucking hell, you've got to take your hat off to what he did in terms of 2 finals, semi-final, and we were unlucky in the quarterfinal in the World Cup. And it's been a fantastic spell for England. But I just think they probably do need someone else if they're going to have a chance of taking it over the line.
Yeah, and I mean, because you think we got 2 years until the World Cup, and the names is circulating. Oh, Jurgen Klopp and all this bullshit and all these big time names. Give me a realistic manager. Like Cardsley is I think second or third favorite.
Former Sheffield United assistant Lee Cardsley to David Weir. So that doesn't fill me with hope, but apparently he's done well in the under 21s. I don't think there is an obvious candidate, and this is the thing where I was saying it's probably game over for Southgate. It's 4 tournaments. You don't normally get that in international football if you've not won anything. Probably time to go. But then you do start thinking, who's realistic? Who's not going to be Klopp? It's not going to be Pep. There's no one out there where you think, yeah, he has to come in. I genuinely do not know. Whoever I pick here, Eddie Howe, Graham Potter, if it's going to have to be English, which it seems like they're going to try and do, none of them, they've all got faults. They've all got massive faults where you think, I'm not sure if that's going to work. Potter failed at Chelsea. Howe hasn't really got a great experience in Europe. Lampard, obviously not. He shouldn't be anywhere near the rating. But
no.
Sean Dyche, I like Sean Dyche as a manager. He's not really an England manager though. Do you know what I mean? So there's no one really there. Pochettino, people have talked about. I don't know if that'll happen because he's Argentinian and people might not get over that. I don't know, but there's no. Honestly, as much as I were one of the people saying it's time to go for Southgate, it's probably. It's been weird with English coaches in the last 10 years. There's been no one that stood out where you think he's got to get it. He has to be the new manager. I think ever since Venables left, which is like 96, you've been scrambling around for a manager because none of them actually, done anything. I suppose, I don't know. I really, really don't know. I really, really don't know. I'm interested to see how it goes.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm sitting on the fence, but I genuinely I don't know.
I don't blame you because I'm trying to rack my brain too. Like who would be a fit, and just like as you mentioned, it's not. There's nothing that just gravitates you towards one of the managers. It's like there's, as you mentioned, they all have their flaws, and the criticism that it takes to be that England manager, man. You put one foot wrong, and you've got everybody and their brother on your back wanting to know answers. Because you got to think, I mean, unless something majorly happens, they're going to qualify for the World Cup. Yeah. They're going to be okay with that. Then they're going to come into this, whoever takes them over, and whoever takes the reins is going to be, Southgate. Now they're all going to be compared to Southgate. Southgate got them to the final. Southgate did this. Southgate got last time they were in the World Cup. Southgate got them this far. Blah, 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 blah. And just, are you going to be able to live up to that expectation? And I mean, it's almost like being a president of a country. You're incurring all that stress on, and you're like, it's just a game of football.
In a weird way, because Southgate did so well, it's obviously going to have a knock-on effect for the next manager. Mm-hmm. I think when Southgate himself took, I can't even remember Southgate being appointed. That's how tuned out of England I was. Hodgson got fired. It were awful. We lost to Iceland. Then Allardyce came in before he drank his pint of wine or whatever he did. And then I don't remember Southgate getting appointed. I was that, out of touch with the England team. Now, the focus is all going to be on England because they have got a good array of players. Probably not as good as the media make out, but they're a good set of players. Mm-hmm. And we've just come off the back of 2 finals in 3 years or whatever it is. People are going to expect whoever comes in next to get to at least a semi-final. That's hard to do. Even for someone as experienced as Deschamps, for instance, he got knocked out in the last Euros in the quarterfinals to Switzerland. It happens. It doesn't matter how the experience, because it's knockout football. Exactly. You're one bad penalty away from going out.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that's why it's so exciting. I've always loved international tournaments because I think that's why it's so exciting, because you can get that day where, we obviously played the United States in the World Cup, the last World Cup in Qatar. You could have won that. England were a good England team, and they were unlucky not to. But you could have won the group, and then you've won the easy side of the draw. And who knows? You could have this run. That's what's fantastic. That one one little bit of luck that goes your way, like England have had a lot of it in this tournament, and all of a sudden you've got all these amazing memories, and I love that about international tournaments.
Yeah, it is. Just wish our side of the pond would figure out what the hell they're trying to do.
Yeah, it's been poor, hasn't it? I mean, I watched a documentary about actually what's been going on. Because obviously, you got 19 quarterfinals, didn't you, in Copa America, and yeah.
No, didn't even make it out of the group stage.
I mean, the group stages, sorry,
Yeah,
group stages, sorry.
yeah. Didn't even make it out of the group stage. All that quote unquote talent and didn't make it out of the group stage. Yeah. I think it boils down to more of everybody blames the manager, but I think in this case, it's trying to get all of the quote unquote talent to work seamlessly together. And it just
same with England. You say with England, but obviously England did better, but they fluked their way to a final trying to get everyone in.
Yeah, very true. Turning to the page to what all joins us together.
Yeah.
Here we are sat on day of recording is July 16th. United have brought, 4 players through the door? You, Andrew Higginson, what are your thoughts on Sheffield United coming up this season?
I'm a lot more optimistic this week than I was last week. Put it that way. I still think we're in a state in a way where I don't know what the squad's going to look like by the end of the transfer window. We've still got 5 loans to bring in. You'd have thought at least 4 loans we're probably going to use. That's going to be massive for us. The midfield looks really good, I think, at the moment. If they keep them, Hamer, Arblaster, O'Hara. We've even got Brooks in there. We'll probably bring someone else in if Tom Davis ever comes back. We're quite stacked in that area. I think Kiefer Moore's a really good signing at this level. I'd like to get, he's not everyone's cup of tea. I'd like to get McBurney back. Because I think if you're after 15 goals in a division, he's going to get you 15 goals in, pretty much every season he plays if he keeps fit. But I am still concerned that I look at the defence and certainly goalkeeper, obviously we haven't got a goalkeeper. And there's a lot of work to do and there's a lot of players that's going to need coming in and gelling. But I was genuinely worried after we got rid of all those 15 players. I thought we might have a relegation battle on our hands here. Not necessarily we're going to go down, but we're going to, and now I'm thinking, a couple more things here and there, and it might be, quite positive. I'm completely, again, in the balance, completely on the fence, because I think you have to be, because we don't know what the first team's going to look like. Is Vinny Souza still going to be here? Is Anel still going to be here? Yeah, right. We're not sure. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Trusty was shocking last season. I thought it was just as bad as Souza last season, but it's a new season, sort of not new manager, but, new clean slate and everything. Will he come on? We're not going to know, I don't think. So at least I think we'll start slow. And we need to keep his heads, and I include myself in that because we're all emotional. I've heard you've heard me. We're like, fucking shit, like, do you know what I mean? But you need to be like trying to be in the Championship. It's different to the Prem. I think in the Prem, the longer you go without a win, the harder it becomes. The Championship, you can be bottom at November and get promoted.
Yeah, exactly. You can even look at our neighbors. They didn't get their first win till when? November.
Yeah, about 15 games or something like that. Yeah.
And still survived. Golly, they were nailed the relegation. They did.
Yeah. He's going to be excited with that. As worrying as it's going to be, you've got Wednesday in there, and you've got Leeds in there, and you've also got the sort of rivalries that we had last time. With Coventry fans are obviously all furious about O'Hara going. We're not bothered. I'm not bothered. As they like typing. Yeah. And then Middlesbrough, obviously, we went head to head with them. We've got Luton and Burnley, so there's going to be a lot of big games.
Oh, yeah. It is this. I'm looking forward to this season. Really excited being back in the best division in the world, in my opinion. It's just going to be so fun. Probably my last question I'll ask you. How long do you think Wilder lasts the entire season? With the alleged in air quotes takeover.
I'm going to say no because of that. I don't know. I've got no inside info, and I don't want any inside. I've talked to people who've got inside, and they don't want that inside info because people keep asking you it all the time and stuff. But I've got no inside info. But I've got a feeling if Wilder doesn't start well and we've got a takeover, I can't think of a situation ever in football where a new owner has accepted the old manager doing badly. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And I think it could be. I think it's more like I'm not saying I want him to go, but I think it's more likely he's not here by the end of the season than he is, simply because I think a new owner wants their own manager. And if we don't get to a good start, which I don't think we will, just purely because we've got that many new players coming in, then I think that's going to be pretty. The first thing you do is sack the manager.
Yeah, true. Heckingbottom, stay close to the phone. We'll call you about mid-November.
Yeah, we'll just keep going back and forth through him. Anytime we're having a bad run, we'll just
exactly. It's like a game of tennis. Bang, you hit it back and forth. You hit it back and forth. The last question before I get out of here, and if you watched my videos prior, you know what I'm going to hit you with. The hard-hitting questions here on the Red Hat Sheffield. Pre-match beverage, game day. Give it to me. I know I've hung out in the pub with you a few times.
Yeah.
Give it to me, Andrew.
It depends what pub you're in. We know we're a triple point before, and in there I will normally have, if they've got it on, I'll have a Sheffield Pilsner, which is very Sheffield. I mean, that is the most Sheffield answer you'll get, but it is beautiful. It really is. If I'm in a pub that doesn't sell, I love a Guinness. I absolutely. Do you know? I used to go to the Copthorne Hotel before every match because the Guinnesses in there were unbelievable. They fucking knocked it down, so I can't get a good Guinness in Sheffield anymore. I was dozy. See where he went. Like, see if you got a good Guinness anywhere. Yeah, right? If they're selling a good Guinness, I will always have a Guinness. But in the past few seasons, it has been either Sheffield Pilsner or Gold or one of those brilliant triple point, pints that they put on there.
Yeah, that's I missed that. That was that was a hell of a drunken night. Golly.
Yeah, we were all drunk. I mean, you've been awake for about 2 days, to be fair. Yeah.
yeah, that's true. That's true. All right, before we get out of here, Mr. Panchero, drop all your social medias and where the viewers can listen to your dulcet tones.
So I'm on Panchero on Twitter. Follow me on there. It's roysviewfrom.com for the views from other opposition fans. I do Blaze Pod with Ben. When the season starts, we'll be doing that every week again. And I do Living with Maidley with Liam, which is a TV nostalgia show if anyone wants to check out something away from football for a bit while it's pre-season.
Great, and I will recommend, as somebody that has no insight on what you guys are doing, I have absolutely no idea. I've listened to every single episode, and man,
I remember sometimes you'll just say like, "Who's this Cliff Richard character? Who's Barrymore?" Like,
yeah.
No idea who these people that we're talking about.
I'm just listening, and I'm like, I have no idea who the hell this is, but I can look them up. Oh, okay, all right. I mean, and you guys do a great job in describing, it could be a visual because as you and Liam say, we're watching this episode of it. If you want to follow us along, you can do it. But I just listen to it as a podcast, and you both do a great job at describing what's going on and your thoughts and his thoughts, and it just the whole thing works really, really well.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Really appreciate it. I'll return the compliment. It's getting a bit, your podcast's amazing as well. But yeah, obviously what you and Noah do is fantastic. I think it was Hal, actually, of Sheffield United Away, who told me to start listening. So I didn't know about it, to be honest. And yeah, and then I have to admit, the first thing you think, these Americans, well, they don't know about Sheffield United, but honestly, it's absolutely hilarious week in, week out.
Yeah, it's fun. I model myself, although I try, depending on when we record, I try not to listen to your podcast because I don't want to have, because it's, it all blurs together because we're all, in a sense, we're all watching the same damn thing.
Especially last season, everyone's just like, what's a different word for shit? Every week. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, Andrew, thank you for coming on. If you haven't done so, guys, follow us, Red Half of Sheffield on YouTube, at Red Sheffield on Twitter /X. And until the next esteemed Blades punditry person that I interview, I will leave you with Up the Blades.
Up the Blades.